All right, welcome back to a special feature at AmericanFightingRevolver.com. I'm Bryan with a Y.
DB.
Today, we have what everybody's been waiting for I don't know, since 2008.
Yeah.
We have the Nightguard, the 386-2 and the 396-2. And in the foreground here, we have one of the original 396 NGs or Nightguards from 2008. So everybody's been wanting to see these. They've been under wraps for what, a year?
Yeah. We've been talking about this stuff, yeah. And
let's start over here with the one that I think will probably be the the normal guy gun, right?
Yeah.
Which is the 386. So it's an L-frame 686 7-shot in 357 Magnum, and they both weigh in, oddly enough, within a tenth of an ounce of each other at a pound,
about a pound and a half.
Pound and a half. Yeah. So let's talk about 386 L-frames. The 686 plus 7-shot has been one of the top-selling revolvers for the better part of 30 years. So Nightguards, what makes it a Nightguard, Darryl?
Well, the original Nightguards, scandium framed, super lightweight guns, and I was a huge Nightguard fan. So I still have my 386 original Nightguard. I also, the day they were released, I got the 329 44 Mag Nightguard. That was a mistake. The problem, the benefit and the negative back then on these original guns, they had the fixed rear sights.
The extreme duty fixed.
And an excess tritium front, which is what kind of distinguish them as a Nightguard. So all black, scandium, super lightweight, great sights on the gun, all the things. The problem you had with this, with some of these, and this was some of the discussions we had setting these guns up originally, is if it doesn't hit to the load you want, you got, particularly on the 44, you got some huge difference between a 240 mag load and a 200 special, which is what I like in these, is the 200 grain specials. So you just sort of accept where the guns hit. So the Nightguard, when these came out, I was one of the people that this was a spectacular gun for. We've talked before about a lot of these guns that came out at a time when all the assault weapons bans were sunsetting, mags were available again to real America, and they were fantastic guns, just sort of not at the right revolver time. However, for me, being in California,
perfect time.
These were great. I had 7-shot 357 shooting some 38 plus Ps in it, and a lightweight gun that had night sights and all the things. They're great.
So we'll take a step back in time. 2008, you're 4 years after the assault weapons ban sunset.
Right.
So you talk about polymer striker fired guns took off again.
4 years after the ban sunset, man, everybody in that time frame was not buying revolvers, and then they were hard to get. I had to get mine from a law enforcement place in California. So,
but then we had 09.
Right.
The AR craze went nuts. So right gun, wrong
time. But they are crazed by revolver aficionados, particularly the guys who like big bores. Because most of these started with 4, and if they didn't start with 4, it had a Magnum behind it,
right.
So they were really good. Fast forward to now, we've got adjustable sights on the rear, and that was something we all kind of got on board with. Have a tritium front with a traditional rear sight instead of the U-notched. And let's get a conventional sighting system on this that is good at night or low light conditions. However, we can dial it for the load.
And they went with like the tallest rear blade.
Right.
So you get the full outline of the dot, but you also have a square front sight. And the square front sight pays dividends for guys like me that are accuracy idiots, right?
Yeah.
So that we
guys
can really
like me
dial
who
it
like
in.
to drive the dot, I got enough adjustment in the back that I can set my sight picture up for what I'm looking for, which we'll talk about in a minute, just paid off in spades.
So with the adjustable sight, if you did want to put an extreme duty rear sight, these are drilled and tapped underneath the sight channel or the inlet for the the sight body, and it also fits those like red dot mounts. So if you're like some of our buddies that like to put a dot or some type of other sighting
These would be a
system on
great
it,
red dot gun. In all honesty, they'd be a fabulous red dot gun. Now, mine's set up a little different. Bryan's is set up the way they
came
come
out.
with the hoe grips. These are one of my favorite of the hoe grips. This is one of my favorites. Is they slide on from the bottom. They're very compact. They're very comfortable to carry and shoot. All the things, they're super lightweight, which again works out good with these guns. There's really no hardware with them. Mine, I've set up with the Hamry Forge boot grips with a hook on them. I carry this gun right now. I've been carrying it since I got it, and I want the smaller, the grips as small as I can. Shooting them's a different story. I'm all bundled up because Oklahoma pulled a bipolar weather thing on us today. It was 70 yesterday out on the range. It's sub 30 wind chill, and the wind is blowing enough there's white caps on the pond.
Yeah.
But I just went out and shot a snub super test with this. Shot a 100, 200 grain high desert cartridge, XTP load, which is my carry load. Shot a little bit, dialed the sights in with it, and it shoots dead on right now for me driving the dot. Now, I will say I shot some of Bryan's Keith loads out of this. It was a uniquely unfun experience, particularly with these stocks on it.
It's a spicier 44
It's spicier
special.
44 special. So you can, if you were headed back into bear country or Alaska or something and wanted to get up into one of those hard cast 240 loads, you would have enough sight adjustment to do that. But for me right now, I've got this set up on the 200s, and it's my happy place for a carry gun. I'm running a front appendix rig, but the gun's light enough with the hook, I can actually carry this in sweatpants or jeans minus, a holster if I need to. So I've been really enjoying actually carrying this gun all the time.
Yeah, and they're in production. So something like this, these kind of fell into the collector's realm. They were a real short run, 2 years, 3 years on some of them. The 44 specials were really like 2008, 2009, and then they went away. Let's talk about some of the differences here between the original. One, they're no lock.
Yes.
So thank you to Jason and Smith & Wesson and all the guys.
Yeah, these are
they
no
did away
lock
with
guns.
the lock. There's debate about the lock and whether it was necessary and all the things. Either way, it's gone. So with that, these are now 3-inch. These are a true 3-inch barrel. And for those of us in the revolver world, the 3-inch guns have been held in high regard because the big one, you get that little extra boost in velocity, but also full length ejection extraction. So these guns have a full like service size ejector rod. The older ones had a little, the stubbier like J-frame size small ejector rod. So if you weren't shooting a little stubby cartridge, shooting a big long Magnum cartridge, it makes extraction a little difficult.
Yeah, this got those 44 specials out of the gun, no problem. The other thing I'm really liking on the 3-inch is not only am I getting a little better, I think, sight picture on a little bit of length, particularly my older vision. What I really like is I'm carrying this in a front appendix holster from Doc Barani. This extra barrel length, it's not so long to make it uncomfortable, but it is long enough to not roll the gun out for us full-sizer people. The little stubbier guns, they're great when you're carrying them on the side and you're trying to look for clothing coverage. When you're putting them inside the pants, these longer barrels will actually anchor the gun a whole lot better on drawing them from concealment. So again, I've been carrying this in an appendix rig or just actually in a pair of jeans minus minus a holster with a hook, and it anchors really, really well. That 3-inch just balances this gun out perfect.
So with the Scandium guns, of course, 2-piece barrel. They did make a little change to the way the barrel is designed. It actually has a pretty wide flange at the end. The forcing cone or the barrel shank area is really substantial on these, so they should endure a little higher volume of shooting with a little more robust manner, I guess you could say. They changed the way they mounted the front sight, so they went to a dual pin on the front sight. Now, these ultralight guns, even some of the heavier guns, if you don't pin them just right, you can shear the shank off or the foot of the sight off. So they dual pinned it, so it should be worthy of Magnum rated loadings. The other thing that they did is they went to the ball detent system on the crane or the yoke. So the old guns were the traditional front underlug pin that locked up on the center pin. These have the more modern, thinner ejector rod with the little cap on the end of it.
Yeah.
But that allowed them to have a lot more room to build a lot more forcing cone, make them a lot more robust. And that ball detent lockup system on there has been fantastic. Yeah. So all the newer K-frames, like those carry comps we got, both of these guns feature that. And on the L frames, it makes a lot of sense on the 44 Special and the 357 mag. When you get up into the little spicier loadings, that'll save in shake, getting wear on the gun that prematurely for a gun this light. They have the scandium blast shield above the forcing cone or the cylinder gap, and that's to keep the gun from flame cutting. If you shoot a really heavy, hot powder, you'll get a lot of flame discharge from there, so that just protects that scandium frame. As far as that goes, it's kind of a rebirth of the old Nightguard with a lot of the improvements that we kind of wish that would have been available then. They are steel cylinders, so we don't have the titanium cylinders like the old 329 PDs and some of those. The guns are superbly accurate with lead and with jacketed ammo, which tells me the chamber throats are probably pretty good, right? So other than that, let's see.
I got to tell you, my hands are, that's why we're dressed a little different, is I'm pretty frozen right now. With my hands cold, arthritic, everything else, I just shot 50 rounds of 200 grain.
The TMJ.
The TMJ round, or total metal jacket. It's not incredibly comfortable to shoot, but it's not miserable either. Again, being able to throw down 100 super test, I scared myself at how good that was because I didn't expect it. And boy, does it tear big holes when you're used to shooting those with 38s or the 22s and 32s. All of a sudden, you're throwing them big 44 caliber holes in the target. These are not shoot all the time, high round count guns. These are carry all the time guns. I can say they are glorious to carry for us revolver lovers. Really great size, weight, balance. They really nailed this.
Yeah, the 3-inch barrel really kind of offset it, even from the older ones, just to give you that little different balance, a little better velocity, cartridge extraction, all the benefits that we get with 3-inch guns. And the nice thing with the 357, you don't have to shoot 357. It shot 38 125s, outstanding. We ran the 125 TMJ from High Desert. We ran some 158 357 gold dots through it. Unfun, but they shot really well. We ran the 158 DB load from High Desert cartridge, which is really more of a 38 plus P in a Magnum cartridge. So, with that, you had a lot of load flexibility. And one of the things early on in our conversations, like we mentioned earlier with Lipsey's and Jason, was we have to have an adjustable rear sight. Yeah. The fixed sight is a great idea if you're only going to carry and shoot one loading. The adjustable sights just make life a little easier. Again, if you want to go to that, it'll bolt right up. They changed the deck height a little bit on the actual barrel shroud, or the piece that the sight's mounted on. And what that allows you to do is have a little more range of adjustment, and they're really calibrated a little more towards what people are going to carry as far as loading. So if you notice, the rear sights aren't real high off the frame on either one of these, and that That one's happy place is 200 grain 44
Right.
specials.
It really likes the 200 load.
This one really likes the 158 in that 38 plus P kind of velocity range to not have your rear
Right.
sight cranked way off the base of the gun. Frame mounted firing pins, just like all the modern Smiths. And I believe the trigger and hammer on these is coated. I'll have to confirm that, but much like the Performance Center guns that are coming out, they've got a protective coating on them versus the old color case. So makes them a little darker, and they wear really nice.
Yeah.
The other touch that I like that they did on both of these is they chamfered the back of the chambers from the factory. So Bryan doesn't have to get out his chamfering tool and carve on a brand new gun. It's already there.
And the front of the cylinders have a nice bevel to them. These go in and out of holsters real well. And particularly for somebody looking for a good urban home defense, travel, protective gun, these nail it. Whether you go with the 357 that gives you such a wide range of ammunition availability that's everywhere, or something like this 44 that gives you pretty good ballistics across the board for just about everything. You know, if you were going back into the high country, whether you're mountain biking, and it'll go from the chest rig to the appendix rig real well. Again, as we've talked about for travel guns, legality everywhere. That whole night guard ideal of something to be able to protect you in the dark. Most of urban America is the places that have all the restrictions on magazines and autos and all of that. These guns don't. They fit real well in that realm. I love them for a car gun, fanny pack gun, chest rig gun, and then, like I said, I'm carrying mine all the time in an appendix rig and pretty darn happy with it. So these are a winner. These are a straight winner. Again, another Lipsey's knocked it out of the park with Smith again.
And Lipsey's exclusive, so if you want this, if you want one, get with your Lipsey's dealer. If your dealer is not a Lipsey's dealer, this should be all the reason for them to fix that. The other thing I'll say before we wrap this up is, much like the 32 H&R with the Ultimate Carry Series, we've now made these collectible.
Right.
So, you know, much like the 32s commanded a premium, and all of a sudden they're everywhere. So the older Night Guards, guys, put them in the box, appreciate them, but they're now a collectible.
Yeah.
So there it is, guys. 386-2, 396-2 Night Guard Series, Lipsey's exclusive. Check them out.